Hello there, today we are at Lydford Gorge, the waterfall entrance, and I think it's £8 per person paid entry because it's a National Trust site, but Ravens Tor is in here, so it's semi-private, semi-public I guess. It's a tour you have to pay to enter basically on Dartmoor, but it should be somewhere in there. The thing about this map is it's annoying because they make north face that way. So north on the map is like that. So I think the bit called Devil's Cauldron might be closed off. They've had some tree fall or something. But Ravens Tor is there. Waterfall entrance is here. So we go 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, up to 5 to get to Ravens Tor.
It's going to be very hot today. A little bit cooler down in the gorge today. That's what we're hoping.
So that's the reception bit where you pay. Over there is a big tea room type thing.
Are you doing the long walk?
And I think the way you start walking is down there. That was a bit annoying, the flare. They're wearing the SJW Pride flag on there. So it's got the triangle on it. Oh my god. Apparently with this route you take, you have to commit to 3 miles or not do it, because they have a one-way system in progress on the circuit. It's like a 3-mile loop, and once you start going down it, it's illegal to reverse or come back the path you've come. I don't know what, but yeah, it's very controlled here. You should be able to come back, so maybe we'll get a refund for not doing the trip if we come back from the waterfall entrance. It might not be a good idea to do this tour because you've got to commit to 3 miles. Yeah. Okay, this trip has already pissed me off in the extreme. I'll go into it when I get back. Alright, recap of the disappointing non-trip there. Ravens Tor at Lydford is off. I think we're going to have to call it a private tour essentially. We've just had essentially our money stolen by the staff. So paid entry, but if you go in there and you don't have your walk, long story, we didn't have the walk, we just went in a few paces on the recommendations of the staff there. This is the map they give you. It's very shitty because it's like full of loads of numbers on the map, but the numbers correspond with absolutely nothing on the leaflet. I think you can open up every single page of this leaflet and you will not find a single page that corresponds with the numbers on the map. We've had these maps for a while. They closed off the Devil's Cauldron for fallen tree repairs or something. We knew that was happening. We just wanted to get to Ravens Tor. So this is the waterfall entrance. That's the other entrance that isn't Devil's Cauldron. We went up there to the reception area, and I didn't take a photo or film inside. The staff there in the reception area, well, one of them had dyed green hair, which was already sending alarm bells to me. But I thought nothing of it, you know. Sometimes you get dyed green hair people who some rare occasions you get dyed hair people who aren't of a certain far left political ideology. But went up to this one, and the horrors that on their flare they had not just the fucking pride badge, they had the one with the fucking triangle that regards black people as a sexuality and brown people as a sexuality, all that, you know, just instant, you know. If you didn't know before that this was far left extremism, now you do, because we're wearing this particular flag. You know, it's not just the rainbow flag, where there could be a possibility that you're not far left. It's this one where there's just outright definitely are. And when I saw that, I was like, oh fuck. I heard something about the National Trust a while ago in the anti-SJW kind of pushback years, Might have been around 2017 or 2018, and they were themselves as whatever they are. I'm still not entirely sure what they are. Are they a corporation? Are they a company? Are they a private landowner? I'm not entirely sure. Are they state-owned? So my dad says they rely on subscriptions to keep what they're doing going, maintaining places that they supposedly own going. But so they're not paid by taxes. They're not like, they don't get their income for maintaining people via tax of the public. But what's sinister is that just how much land across England you see the National Trust icon on, and you don't know if that's owned by them or there's some sort of government deal in which they'll maintain that land. For instance, I saw the National Trust flag on sections of the Southwest Coastal Path. Now, does that mean the Southwest Coastal Path is entirely land owned by the National Trust? And how could that be? Is National Trust owned by a billionaire or something that owns vast swathes of land across England? Or is there some kind of shady deal going on in which they're brought in to maintain things that don't belong to them? And they get to put their plaque all over these places? I would think that, I'm not sure how it works, but I would assume that the Southwest Coast Path is owned in sections by the farms and private property that run along it. But I don't know if that's the case or if they're actually somehow owned by this National Trust shady organisation who relies on subscriptions, not taxes, but seems to, they own so much land that the public goes over, or they have some kind of monopoly or link or control over so much land that the public goes over. It makes me really want to look into the National Trust more. Yeah, I saw something in around 2017 or somewhere around then, between 2015 and 2019, where the National Trust were just engaging in far left politics. I'll have to bring that up again if I see what it was. So there's that. There's the really obvious flare, and then there's how they're running the site of Lydford itself. So me and my dad, it was £8 a ticket, but I think Dad was a bit too fast on the gun. I was just still trying to work out what was going on here because I'd seen the badges. I was like, what is going on? So we talked to them for a little bit. There was a guy and a girl there, and they were saying that once you start walking, at least past the waterfall bit, which we didn't get to, then you cannot turn back, and there's a one-way system around the gorge for 3 miles. 3 miles, and you can't turn back once you start. So it's like a trap, and you have to commit to an entire 3-mile walk as soon as you pass the waterfall entrance in one direction. And it's not like you can stop halfway through the walk like you would naturally if you were doing a normal hike in a normal place. Take the shortest way back home to your car or whatever. No, you have no choice in that matter. There's no freedom, completely authoritarian site. You have to commit to going the full way around, like if you've done 500 meters or whatever, and you think, okay, it's too much, it's too hot today, I'm gonna go back to the car, or something's wrong, or someone's having a heart attack or something. You would not just be able to turn around and go back to where you came, the shortest route. You would have to do the full 3-mile circuit. Unfucking-believable. And so we barely walked a few meters, and I said, well, we haven't walked this at all, Dad. Do you want to get that refund? Because it was £8 for each of us that he paid. He was going to pay for me as well, so I feel extra guilty because it was his money, but I mean, he's kind of the one who made the decision to go on. I think we should have just held off on making a commitment like that and paying for anything before we'd figured out what the hell was going on. But he paid, and then we went in, walked for a short while, and I was like, no, this isn't working. Dad was already struggling in the heat. We'd only walked a few paces. We looked down to the waterfall, and there's a very steep hill and a contoured path that went like down like that. Dad said it could have been because the path narrows too much in places, but that doesn't make any sense, because as narrow as paths get out in places that are normal, that aren't like these National Trust paid sites, people can still pass by in either direction. You know, they can squeeze by each other. Like the room that a standing human occupies when they're just at ease is the same room that two standing humans can occupy if they're side by side and passing each other. This is like, I don't know how this isn't simple logic to people. So the other thing that it might be to do with is that there's a lot of like mobility scooter signs. So not necessarily wheelchairs, but some kind of machine-powered disability scooter. They were like trying to make the site fully accessible to those. So I guess they'd smooth down the paths and stuff. I can imagine quite a lot of it being a bit too rickety for things like that to access, but I guess they've made it accessible to those things. Now I can see how one of those might block off a narrow path going in one direction so that the other people can't pass going the other way. So I think maybe it's to do with that. Either way, I'm not sure what's going on with National Trust and whether they are like private landowners or, you know, who actually owns the land, what kind of agreements are going on, how much of it is state-owned and authoritarian safety bullshit. Either way, we just went in there, we lost £16, or rather my dad lost £16. I told him I'd pay for myself, but yeah, maybe I should have said before we go in, Dad, I'll definitely pay for myself, because then I could see straight away I'm not willing to make this commitment of getting my wallet out, especially like we've just paid. I'm kind of glad it's not my money. If it was my money, I would have said no, I'm not paying this, I'm not making this commitment. Since it's Dad money, he paid, unfortunately, on my behalf to my ideological enemies. I mean, I would never consciously ever give money to someone in any business that I saw wearing that variation of the pride flag with the triangle on it, with the, you know, that's like pure fucking far left collectivism right there. It's so dumb as well. You're trying to say that black people and brown people are a sexuality. Like, well, first of all, you're talking about black, brown and white and all this, so you're seeing colour, you're seeing race, you're focusing on race, and you're making decisions based on identity politics of that race and assorting people into race-based groups and treating them differently. That's just complete racism that the far left do every day. And, you know, as well as that, like, they're treating skin tone as genders and sexualities. I think it's actually sexuality, isn't it? Because there's like meant to be a strip that represents bisexual people. I disavow entirely, by the way. And there's meant to be I guess one of the colours represents gay people and one of the colours represents lesbian people. By the way, I've no idea, and I do not have any interest in looking up which colours apply to which sexualities. It's, you know, the entire existence of that flag and the one before it as well is just bullshit to me. You know, it is like LGBT and all that, plus QIZ, they put loads of other letters on the end of lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans. So I'll just take the 4 letters to work with, thanks, because you don't need to go into detail with the other letters. LGBT plus, or LGBT, ABC, whatever, is a political far-left collectivist movement. It's a group, and it doesn't stand for lesbian people, it doesn't stand for gay people, it doesn't stand for bi people like me, it doesn't stand for transsexual people at all. That's not what it is. It's the modern hammer and sickle, is what it is. It is socialism, it's far-left politics, it's people who call themselves progressives but are actually regressive in the things that they want. And I'm not down with that. It's hard to have a conversation with a normie who hasn't been following all this shit since it started, but, you know, people need to get wise to what this stuff is so they can stop funding it and vote with their wallet and basically drive this ideology completely out of the mainstream where it's got stuck. Yeah, there was a time, I think, I was saying for a while that it'd be easier being a normie, non-political, like a troll, and just like ignoring politics or forgetting politics. But you can't forget politics once you've found out what's happening. You can't unsee it. You know, you can't go back from it. And I used to think, oh, it'd be a bit carefree being a normie and not knowing all this stuff that I know. But it's kind of like exploring on a map, or exploring without a map. You know, you don't know what an area looks like. You have a vague idea of what a geographical place looks like or might be. You have a imagination in your mind of what it might be before you've gone there, and then you go there and you see it, and certain things are completely different. And once you've been there, you can't unsee that. You know the terrain now, you've been there, you know what it looks like, you know it's not like your imagination. Like when I first saw London as a kid on TV screens and stuff, and you see Big Ben, I imagined that geography, and like reading War of the Worlds, I imagined that geography completely differently from many years later when I first visited London and saw Big Ben in the flesh, and I was actually in the place, and I looked around and like, hold on, all these streets are completely different. Like every street that was in my imagination of London is completely different to the reality geography of London around Big Ben and Westminster. It's completely different. And the same is true of politics. You know, once you find out what it is, you can't go back in time in your mind to a state of blissful ignorance of not knowing what that is. As much as you'd want to. You can maybe simulate it by ignoring what's happened, but it's still going to be there, it's still going to be around you. The truth is still going to exist in that setup of geographical Big Ben, or how far left politics has infiltrated all of our institutions, and we need to drive it out. And people like my dad or other people might say, hey, you have to keep your politics out of your hiking videos. Well, no, I don't have to. That's not what my channel's about. That's not what my content's about. I am who I am. I believe what I believe. It wasn't my choice to, you know, get into politics and fight the far left. It was a reaction to what they were doing. How they were trying to get people fired from jobs, how they were disallowing people entry to places. And now after 2020, that's graduated into my complete rejection of statism in general. And all the trappings of, like, statism and the authoritarianism that comes with government and controlling, like, behaviour control of the people. Like, I reject that entirely. Yeah, it's a shame I didn't go and chat to that ANCAP guy that I saw when I was leaving Bude. I didn't actually know he was there until I got on the top deck of the bus. So I was like, god damn. Because when I zoomed in on the sign when I got home, I was like, oh, so he's not an anarcho-communist, like, which, by the way, is a complete contradiction. You can't be anarchist and socialist at the same time, because socialism is state worship. Anarchism is entire rejection of a state. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But, you know, you see from his sign, he was innocent of the bullshit. He was like a proper anarchist. He's like an ANCAP, kind of like me. So I should have, you know, if I'd have seen him earlier, I would have gone and talked to him. Maybe I would have done a little camera interview with him, actually. I asked him a few things on camera if he was comfortable with it. I think what threw me was that the anarchist sign he had over his shoulder wasn't yellow on black, it was red on black. And that's what made me think, oh, is this like a LARPer anarchist who doesn't know what anarchism actually is? But no, I think he was a true anarchist based on his sign. It was like, what did he say having a sign? I wrote it down because He wrote down, "Government is criminal, no compliance." That's not socialism, that's the opposite of socialism. "Neither government nor masters" was written on the back of it. He flipped his sign. Exactly. Government enslaves us. We all need to push against it. We all need to start finding ways to pay no taxes if we can, or reduce our tax payment until, you know, the government's not getting any of it. That's how the government pays their state officers. You shouldn't don't regard state officers as anything other than your ideological enemy if you're an ANCAP. Like, don't talk to them if you can. Don't give them the time of day. These are your enemies. These people are the people who take money as pay to work for the state, in essence defending the government as bodyguards, defend the government from the public, from like you and me, and even all the normies who don't even know about all this stuff that's going on. The police, the army, other groups as well. I need to look into the fire service. I haven't come up with arguments for the fire service, but I think there's probably an argument to be made there for individuals dealing with fire. Yeah, because it's like you're outsourcing your own ability to deal with fire to someone else, but I guess some of these fires can get pretty big and you need the resources to put them out, and individuals don't have that. So you could say maybe there's privatize them, like make fire services into private companies. There we go. That's solved the entire thing there. There shouldn't be a state fire service anyway. Lifeguards, as I learnt on my Cornish trip, I hadn't even gone into lifeguards, but someone with my mind, like someone who has like a sense of what freedom is in their mind versus what safety is. This sign back here, I need to do it better actually. It was a really basic sign, and I like the concept of it, but I haven't done a decent art for it. It's just like a quick doodle, but there it is. Freedom is choice is risk, which opposes safety, which is authoritarianism, which is control. You can't have safety, and we've learned all this from the lockdown crisis. You can't have safety without control, like behaviour controlling the people, confiscating their freedom, not letting them assess their own risk from moment to moment, taking that out of their hands. That is evil. Don't fucking do that. And that is what I'm all about at the moment. Until something changes in my thinking that makes me see a new way forward, this is who I am, this is what I think. I'm not apologising for it, and I'm not gonna not let it sneak into my hiking videos or even be overt in my hiking videos, because I'm not just like random miscellaneous hiker number 482 who also goes around saying leave no trace and just does a family friendly, like non-swearing, non-political hiking video. Those are 10 a penny. You can watch thousands of those, and they suppress free speech in their comments. They're censorious. They don't have much personality, and they're just not interesting to me. Yeah, I like seeing individuals, and I like seeing people who can speak up and not be afraid of what they're saying, even in the realm of fucking countryside travel videos as much as commentary videos. Anyway, I've said enough. I have to look into National Trust, see how much they are linked up with the state. I have to do that, and I have to find out what the old thing was in the 2017 era that keyed me in that National Trust was like this, that I'd somehow forgotten before I went into this. Personally, this is me boycotting Lydford Gorge until they remove all their rules and restrictions, and remove their safety obsession, and remove their politics from their front desk, and all these things. Yes, I'm boycotting National Trust paid sites. Anyone who agrees with me, yeah, don't go into these places. I'm considering that a private tour, so it doesn't affect the Western Line, we should still be on schedule to finish the public tours of the Western Line. Public ground on Dartmoor is very good. When we visit Little Tor, which is just off Westmill Tor, and the Curtry Clitters, which has a funny name, isn't really a tor, but is an area that is geographically named on the Western Line. There's some hot heatwave days right now. I don't know if you've noticed in England, but that means that we're not going to finish that in a hurry. It might take 2 or 3 weeks for us to find a cool Thursday or Sunday lower temperature to go up there and bag that last couple of tours. And then that's basically complete, and I'll get onto those videos I've been promising for a while that are like the zone videos. Anyway, that's why we're not visiting Raven's Tor, and that's scratched off the list. Thank you for watching.
So this is the next leg, the National Trust thing. So he's quit, he's actually gone now.
Well, it says he won't leave until October. He'll sort of see out his term or something. But yeah, I think he has formally resigned. So yeah, well, it did also say on record that he is, and the National Trust under his leadership is, quote, committed to anti-racism and to creating a diverse, inclusive and welcoming environment.
Yeah, whatever, socialist.
So all the buzzwords.
Yeah, I'm a socialist. That's what he's saying there.
You know, committed to anti-racism, so less whites. Just please, working for us and visiting, just less whites.
He's not committed to ending racism, or even minimising it. No, he's committed to anti-racism, which is just left-wing racism. That's all that is.
A few other bits and bobs, just like he wanted people to wear badges or lanyards or something like that with the rainbow thing on it.
I thought you were going to say that pronoun.
Just anything and everything to sort of... to undermine us, really. Not too long ago, I think it was last year, sort of summer or autumn last year, is they released a big report. And there it is. The report is Addressing Our Histories and Colonialism and Historic Slavery.
Sorry, how do they plan on addressing it?
Or is it even within their remit? I thought you were supposed to make sure...
in the past, and what, they're going to...
What it actually is just pouring scorn on us and our history and our heritage at every possible turn. The National Trust, just the thing that is supposed to protect or hold a lot of our heritage in trust. You can imagine the Victorians and every generation of National Trust people up until recently, it's been held in trust for us for future generations, and it's simply been subverted, perverted, inverted, just really quick and really hard. And well, it looks like this guy at least is going to get the boot, but there are other people that are high up in it that are just the same. There's the General Secretary, a woman called Hilary McGrady, an Irish lady who seems very, very disingenuous and pretends they aren't doing anything wrong at the National Trust, when obviously they are.